Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Before we get started on our math, I have a quick announcement for you. Friday, I'm going to be writing your report cards, so there won't be any distance learning on Friday for you guys. I won't be posting a video. You don't need to do any work. You can if you want to, but I will be writing your report cards, so that's a day off for you guys. All right, we are going to get started on lesson 2 from packet 4. So give me a second here and I will show you what we're doing. Okay, so today we're going to be able to decompose fractions and then represent them as a whole number times a unit fraction. So yesterday we just decomposed them into unit fractions. So for example, what we did was, say we took 3, whoops. My pen isn't working here. 3/4 is equal to 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. So if we have a repeated addition sentence, we can rewrite that as multiplication. So that's the same as saying 3 times 1/4. Even on a computer, my smartboard messes up. So you guys are used to this already. So this is what we're going to be learning. We've already learned this year, so it shouldn't be that new for you, but I'm going to go over how to do it with the tape diagram. So just like yesterday, the daily warm-up, you guys are going to do this part on your own. This is what it looks like. So this is independent, but if you need help, you can always call me. So let's get started with the new learning. So here it says the first example problem is we need to decompose each fraction modeled by the tape diagram as a sum of unit fractions and then write the equivalent multiplication sentence. So the first fraction here is 2/4, and they wrote the 2/4 right here. 2/4 is the same as 1/4 plus 1/4 because I have 1/4 shaded and then another 1/4 shaded. Next, we're going to write that as a multiplication sentence. Since I have 2 groups of 1/4, I can rewrite that as 2 times 1/4. Or I have 2 copies of 1/4 shaded, so you can write it as 2 times 1/4. Groups or copies, it means the same thing. Let's look at another one. Here we have 5/8. 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8. So that's 5 groups of 1/8. So I have 5 1/8 here as repeated addition. So I'm going to rewrite that as 5 times 1/8. But the reason we do it this way is it's a lot more efficient. So it takes a long time to write all of this out. It's much easier just to write 5 times 1/8. I'm saying the same thing, 5 groups of 1/8. Let's look at what happens when you have a fraction greater than 1. Okay, so the tape diagram models a fraction greater than 1. Write the fraction greater than 1 as a sum of 2 products. So all they're saying is write 2 multiplication sentences for this. So first, let's look at our 1/2. Let's count how many units there are in the 1/2. Oh, my pen stopped there. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means we have fifths. We're dealing with fifths here. So 1/2, that equals 5/5. So that's going to be the first part of our multiplication. 5/5 is equal to 5 times 1/5. So I just have 1/5, 1/5, 1/5, 1/5, and 1/5. So I write that as 5 times 1/5. Now there are 2/5 left. So this is equal to 2/5. So 2/5 is just two groups of 1/5. So we can write that as 2 times 1/5. So here, 1/5, 1/5, 2 times 1/5. All right, let's look at the last one before we do a we try or a let's try. So it says, draw a tape diagram to model 9/8. Record the decomposition of 9/8 into unit fractions as a multiplication sentence. So all it's really saying is draw 9/8 and then write the multiplication sentence. So to draw 9/8, first we need to draw 8/8. So in this tape diagram down here, the first thing I did was I drew 8/8. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8. My one whole stops here. But then I have one more little piece, and that is 1/8. And this equals 8/8. Wow, 8s are hard to draw. Thank you guys for being patient with me. So this is 8/8 plus 1/8. That equals 9/8. Now, I can rewrite that as 9 times 1/8 because I have 9 groups of 1/8. So I rewrite my final answer as 9 times 1/8. Okay, let's do a let's try. Uh-oh. Get rid of that page. Okay, decompose each fraction modeled by a tape diagram as a sum of unit fractions. Write the equivalent multiplication sentence. So all it's saying is the first thing we need to do is write it as the sum of unit fractions. Sum is an addition sentence, and then write the multiplication sentence. So here, this is two different sentences that we're going to write. So I have 2/3 here. 1/3 and 1/3 is 2/3. So 2/3 is equal to 1/3, and you should be doing this with me on your paper. If you need to pause the video to get out your paper, do that. So that's 1/3. So 3, I promise. And 1/3. I'm going to erase this and make it neater for you guys. Now let's write our multiplication sentence. I have 2 groups of 1/3, so it's going to be 2 times 1/3. So you should write that on your paper with me. So how many thirds are there? Well, there are 2. What does each shaded part represent? Each shaded part represents 1/3. So if there are 2 1/3s, the whole thing is 2/3. Okay, we're going to do one more together before your problem's up. This one says, draw a tape diagram and record the given fractions decomposition into unit fractions as a multiplication sentence. So what we're doing is we're not drawing the addition sentence this time. We're just drawing the tape diagram and we are drawing the multiplication sentence. So draw the tape diagram, record the decomposition. So that's just how you decompose it as a multiplication sentence. Okay, so we're taking 3/8. First, we're modeling 3/8 on this tape diagram. So first, let's separate it in half down the middle. So I know I'm going to need 4 on each side because that will give me 8. So you guys should be doing this in your packet with me. Okay, so now I'm going to double check just to make sure I have 8s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. Now I need to show 3 8s, so I'm going to shade in 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. I know my shading is terrible. Okay, so now since I have 3 groups of 1/8, so this is 1/8, this is 1/8, this is 1/8, I'm going to do 3 times 1/8. Okay, how many 8ths are there? 3. What fractional unit does the tape diagram show? 1/8 or 8ths. We would write out 8ths here. Actually, I can write that out for you. So the fractional unit is 8ths, and there are 3 of them. Whoops. All right, my computer's freezing, so we're going to stop at that. So now you guys are going to work on your problem set, and if you have any questions, you can call me or comment on this video or text me. Remember, today at 2 p.m., you're going to meet Ms. Bowers and Ms. Fisher on Microsoft Teams to go over the math. All right, I will see you later.